Hello lovely people, welcome to the Upclose with Nakato. Our guest today is the young and intelligent Hasfa Mago, who has helped thousands of children develop the much needed basic literacy skills over the past 5 years. We are yet to find out how this has impacted these children in this rather redundant lockdown. I'm Nakato, your host. Thank you for joining in. Hello Mago.
Hello Eva.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Hasfa Mago, the founder of the Book Drive Foundation. I'm a very passionate person about literacy and children and change. And well, I have a degree from Makerere University, and then I do a lot of studying and reading online. Then I'm a writer, but I write African storybooks, books that children can fall in love with. And I'm a social entrepreneur working in majorly the field of early literacy development.
All right, so why the Book Drive Foundation?
Years ago when we started, 5 years ago, we looked in the market. I used to go and look for children's books and you wouldn't find any relatable children's books. So I started by just writing books to make sure that children had good quality, relatable books, but also books that had impact and a message that could transform them in a certain way. Then after we evolved into building libraries and all, and the main essence of the Book Drive Foundation is we want to be out there in the community. We want to make sure that every child everywhere, whether deep down in the villages, uptown Kampala, everywhere there is a child, we want to make sure that we are in that center and a child has a book, and we're making sure that children fall in love with reading at an early age. Because there is the notion that, oh, African children don't like reading and all, but I differ with that because we're not exposed to early literacy at a young age.
Yeah. So according to you, why do you think it is important for a child to develop a reading culture?
Because we find magic in reading. We are transformed through reading. Everything you dream of and everything you want to achieve, you achieve through reading and developing a reading culture. So when we give children this gift, like they say that a book is a gift that keeps on giving. So when we give children this gift, we're giving them a future, a better future, a future where they can go and do research on their own, a future where they can go and understand anything that they need to understand on their own. And we're taking away the whole ignorance where people speak without knowing. We're giving them the ability to be able to understand, develop, and educate and develop their mind. Minus the education and all, is good for a child to fall in love with a book.
Yeah,
it's good for a child to look at a book as a toy, as something that changes my perspective about different things. And it's the whole magic, when you open a book. Yes.
In the African society, that is something. Books are not something that are considered to be toys.
Yes.
So how were you able to identify the children that are getting your services?
One thing that I've seen that we've done over the past 5 years is at one of our community libraries in PG. We started off we built a library in 2017 in PG. And of course, everyone used to tell us, no one is going to come, parents are never going to bring their children. And we thought, you know what, every parent wants their child to succeed in life.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of sitting down with them and reasoning with them and emphasizing the importance of reading. And then how do we identify the children? We look in places where, there's places where lots of children don't have access to education. So this is where we are mostly. We want to make sure that we are there. We're building libraries. We're giving them a place where they can go and come and access the basic skills. We focus on them learning how to read, learning how to spell, and learning how to write. So we know that, yes, they may not have access to education, but if we give them these 3 fundamental skills, and then also develop their culture of reading, at least we're giving them somewhere to start from. So one day when they get the opportunity to go to school, they will have a foundation. They won't be starting from zero.
Yeah.
So our children are everywhere, in the ghettos, in the slums, in the villages, literally everywhere, whether it's grandmothers, parents. We all just want to make sure that we work together and build a future where our next generation has a reading culture.
How many children have you impacted?
The number has actually gone higher between last year at the start of the pandemic and now, because now there is more need for us to be aggressively out there, because with the school lockdown and children are at home, they are redundant and they have no access to any kind of learning. I mean, I'm talking about children who have no TVs in their houses. leave the kids who are able to learn online. The kids we deal with, they've never even seen a laptop, they've never seen a TV or anything like that. So what do we do now? We've gone more in the villages, and this number has actually shot higher between last year and this year. But I would say at least 4,000 plus.
All right, but you kept on extending these services the whole of last year?
Yes. Because at the start of the pandemic, you know, the schools were closed. They were not given anything to go and learn at home. So what happened is that right outside my gate, I started with 5 kids in March, and I would just call them in and say, you know, come and we sing, come and we read, and then from there, you realize that more children wanted to engage. So now we've extended this service into different communities, and we've also been able to evolve it that now children are coming together. Of course, we're maintaining the SOPs in place, but our aim is to make sure that even during this period, they are also not denying the opportunity to keep learning, because other kids have access to TV shows where they're learning, they have iPads, internet, everything. These kids in these communities, they don't have that. So we need interventions that are also going to help them, because it's 2 years now, it's going to be 3 years soon.
Yeah, true.
3 years out of school.
What challenges did you face during the lockdown?
Well, it became a lot harder because one, to reach the kids was nearly impossible because there was no way of transporting or movement at first when we were in the first lockdown. And then also the challenge was, with the lockdown, a lot of our parents lost their jobs because they're border riders, they work in the markets, all that was closed. Now, for us to come in and say that we want to teach the children how to read, they would just chase you away and say, we want food. So how can you come with, how can you be telling us about books and what when the children are starving?
Exactly.
So that was one of our main challenges, that the children didn't have food. And then we were able, of course, to find like different people, Ugandans, which is really amazing, support us and say, me, I'll send you a kilo of rice, I'll send you some beans. So we're able to get the children to keep reading and say at least they can have a meal a day and be able to cope with this. But the main challenge is that the people we are working with, they have, most of them are sick, they don't have health care, they don't have food, they don't have any of this. They have so many needs that now you have to balance with how do I now prioritize education when they also have these many needs on the side. Yes. But at least it's been going well so far.
Yeah, so what about the general challenges and how you've managed to overcome?
We're in the middle of a pandemic. How do we operate to make sure that also us, we're keeping safe, and also we're making sure that the children are safe? And then also how do we keep the programs running? And then when do we do the programs? How do we coordinate that? And with my team, we're able to, we keep changing it. Like even with this second wave, it's a whole different model.
We mostly do home packages whereby every Monday we go door by door and give out work to the kids. And the teachers pick that work on Wednesday and then they mark it, deliver another work to do and then pick it on Friday. But when they go door to door, they make sure that they do corrections for the work they give out to make sure that the kid really understand the work they really give out.
We started by bringing the kids closer together and we sit and read together and all. Now with the second wave, the rate at which it's spreading is faster. So now we've gone back and changed the model that now we're doing more of home takeaways. So the kids come and pick books that already have work in them. They go do the work at home, then bring back the books, sit just for a few hours. We go through it and then they go back home. So we're not meeting on a daily as we were.
Do you have any testimonies, you know, on these services?
Yes. Actually, some of the kids that you're going to see, it's really amazing. Like some of them had never gone to school. Some had just started nursery for the first time, but now they can spell, they can read their ABCs, and they're only little like this. And also what I've seen is that we use young children to teach themselves. So I myself, I don't teach, but we get the kids who are 13, 14, and 15, and they teach the little ones.
My name is Teacher Tina. I started teaching in March at the start of COVID. I started with 2 children, that is Lawrence and Derek. I went back to my P7 primary living examination. After finishing, I came back to teach children how to read, write, and spelling.
So we've seen these little girls who are 13, 14 build their confidence. You know, they're called teachers, they go and do research, they sit down, they write. The way they express themselves, they've grown. And even the kids that are learning, They are so confident, like they'll come up to you and say, Auntie Mago, may I can spell the word boy? And then B-O-Y. It's, you know, it's that excitement.
That transition.
Yes.
Mbadde nina omwana Isabel tagendangako ku ssomero naye lwati Chamago, she can even spell her name, she can write, she can read. Chamago atubeereddewo nnyo tweyanziza nnyo.
Very many parents who are out there and they don't know how to maybe get in touch with you or what to do to help their children develop this learning culture. What tips do you give them?
One is you need to start it early. So as even 6 months, put books around the child. Let them develop, you know, reading to the child every now and then. And then also we have to learn to make book stories too. How? By making learning fun, because every time it doesn't have to be serious that the child needs to sit upright and what
in a uniform,
or even at home they need to sit straight up and then do
with a stick on the table.
They can read with their legs facing up. They can read as they're lying down. They can read. They can listen to stories. All these other things, but we need to expose them to books. And even when you're gifting your children, it's your child's birthday, make a book a priority in that gifting. As much as you can buy all these toys and what, the gift that you can ever give your child that will be the best and the greatest gift is a book. So there's also finding out what does my child like. If they like bicycles and mechanic things, then get them a book in that line. Don't force it that, oh, I want my child to read about this. No, reading has to be in line with their interests. And it has to be casual, it has to be fun, and children also emulate. They do not listen. So as much as you're trying to emphasize a reading culture, also pick up a book. If you need to pretend, at least pretend that you're reading, even if you're not. Just pretend that every afternoon you pick a book and see and read. You'll see what your child will do. They'll start following this. They'll come to you and say, Mommy, I want to read for me this. Or some parents, also the other thing that I've seen is that some children like to begin the story from the last page coming to the first page. And then a parent will say, no, you don't read the book like that. What are you doing? You're killing the child's ability to fall in love with this book.
True.
Leave them. If they're reading it upside down, it's okay. A book is a toy. Let them play with it. And then introduce reading in your homes. We can all make this possible. True. But it starts with the adults and the children emulate.
So how do you see the book drive foundation in the next 5 or 20 years?
Well, I would say 20 years. So we have the little ones who are now, we've started the reading culture from a very young age. And I hope that in the next 20 years, that these are the people who are going to pass this message on. These are the people that are going to be out there in the communities making this change. Because they've started early, so 20 years from now, they are going to be avid readers. And with that, they will understand the power of a book and how important it is to develop a reading culture. So they're going to be aunties, uncles, and all, and they will be able to spread this message among other children. And 20 years from now, we want to be across the African continent.
Wow.
Everywhere on this African planet, on this African continent of ours, we want to make sure that every child has access to books, learning materials, and they're falling in love with reading.
Wow. I am really, really inspired. I've been inspired. And I hope our viewers out there, you've been inspired by this episode.
Thank you.
From turning books into toys for children to reading having a great influence on their confidence, I hope that today's engagement has been equally thought-provoking for you. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Vice Versa Global. Until next time, bye-bye.